On sign out front, now appearing the fabulous Four Freshmen. So he went inside, and he asked to be seated. They did a rough estimate of his age, and of course they threw him out. So he went home, put on a suit and tie, went back, said, "I'm 21, I want to be seated." They threw him out again. He tried to peep through a side door, and it almost worked, except when people came out, they often didn't see Michael, so he got more of a bang from the show than he'd intended. But by now, the Four Freshmen had noticed him, and they sneaked him in, and they let him watch them work. Now, Michael's very musical, and he played drums later, and when he formed his own group, the freshmen came to listen to them. They coached him, they encouraged him, and one day, his group played in that same lounge, which was very appropriately named by that time, the Freshman Room. All right, now as a grown-up, Michael switched into TV production on Mike Douglas' show and Good Morning America Today, and of course now is the executive producer of this show, Mother's Day. But he's never abandoned his secret dream, to perform with his lifelong favorites, the Four Freshmen. Well, if Michael can put me on the spot, I can put him on the spot. And I've invited the Four Freshmen to join us today, and in a little while, Michael's going to join the group, and we'll see how the Five Freshmen sound. Michael, are you a little nervous? Yeah? Well, we're not worried. So join us for some wonderful music and see some dreams come true as we share in the information and celebration of motherhood, because every day is Mother's Day. Selling records for 4 decades, you know they're doing something right. Well, 40 years ago, the Four Freshmen looked and sounded like this.
Poinciana, your branches speak to me of love. Pale moon is casting shadows from above. Poinciana, somehow I feel the jungle heat within.
Well, as you can see, some of the faces have changed. After all, nobody's a freshman all his life. Bob Flanigan is the lead singer. He's the only one who has been with the group right from the start. Autie Goodman came on board in 1977, but he claims seniority. He's a year older than Bob. Mike Beisner has been in the group since 1982, and Kirk Marcy is the baby of the group. He joined the others in 1987. Please welcome the Four Freshmen. Oh, that's great. All right, can you remember back to the first gig 40 years ago?
The first job, when we first started, Joan, we couldn't play and sing at the same time. We'd sing a cappella, then we'd play. We opened at a club in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Right in the middle of the first set, we were working across a dance floor to a payphone. A real nice place. And right in the middle of the first set, the guy comes up and phones the agent in Chicago and says, "Get him out of here now." And that was our first. But we stayed for a whole week because if you notice, the fellow who was playing trumpet with the freshmen then, his daughter liked her, so we stayed through the whole week.
The owner's daughter liked her?
Yeah.
Oh, so that saved the gig? Did you ever think back then that you would be doing the same thing 40 years later, same group?
No. When we started off, we started out to do this for fun for about a year, and then we extended it for 2 years, fortunately, and then we met Stan Kenton, and that's when we really became serious about what we're doing.
It's amazing when you see you guys perform because you play so many instruments. I mean, like Mike, do you know how many instruments do you play?
I've lost count. Whatever it takes to keep the job, you know.
But you play the horns and the woods and the drums and the keyboards and
well, Autie doesn't let me touch his drums very often, or his saxophones, but I've had to play all those at one time.
Well, for parents who have, I mean, like my little Jamie and Lindsay are both taking piano lessons right now. What I wonder about is how young were you when you started playing, and was it something that did your mother encourage you to take lessons, or?
Well, we had some friends that were sort of part-time amateur players. The first thing I ever picked up was guitar. And that lasted about a week and a half till my fingers fell through. And
how old? How old were you?
I must have been about 6 or 7, and I didn't enjoy that too well. But piano, I would encourage everybody that wants to know anything about music. The piano's like the staple instrument.
Were you also that young?
Yeah, I think I was probably 6 or 7 when I started.
Autie, how young do you think you were?
Well, I started playing clarinet when I was about 11.
Okay, so a little bit older. And did your parents encourage you and give you lessons, or is it something? I want to know if it's in the genes or if they can learn it.
We lived out in a little town of Burns, Oregon, which was way far-fetched of anything musically. So all we had was the radio and records. And I learned to play clarinet, and I played good enough where I could play in the high school band in the grade school when I was there.
Oh,
and so
okay.
I got to do that. And my
there.
teacher was a trombone player. In those days, they had one teacher that taught you everything. So I learned it wrong, but I did learn how to play. It was okay.
Was this your childhood dream, to play in a group? Play music all your life?
Sure. And when I was, of course, when Bob and I were younger, the big bands were really big, and the jazz bands, that's what we wanted to do, was play in the big band. That's all we wanted to do.
Unfortunately, that was my dream, too, to play in the big bands and be in the big band. I was just born 20 years too late.
That's right. Well, did you realize, though, when you were dreaming about that, I mean, a little kid thinks, oh, gosh, I'm going to be a rock star, about how hard it was going to be. How many days a year are you on the road?
Well, it varies. We, at one time, we'd go out for 6 or 7 months of one-nighters and play, like, say, in 40 days, we'd play 86 concerts, that kind of thing. We don't do that anymore, but we were out about 185 or 90 days last year.
Can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I know, but when you're doing that, that means that you're living in hotels and you're eating out all the time. But, Autie, you run, right? You run every day. Is that...
I got Kirk started, too. Yeah, we both run now. We're into the health thing. I've been doing it about 10 years. It sort of helps you sleep when you're on the road and they're making a lot of noise in the hotels like they always do. So.
But it's also hard. Mike, I know you've got what? Your son is 3?
Yeah, but 3.5 now. Another one on the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
And when you got the call to play with the freshmen, you were teaching high school, right?
I was teaching high school music up in Seattle, Washington.
And chucked it all and said, "Up, here I go."
Well,
that's a
chances
shot.
like this don't come up.
I know. All right, you're going to do
And I'll tell
another
you something,
song.
Joan, if he continues to sit by you, he may not be here very long either.
All right, well, while you're still sitting here, why don't you do another song for us?
We'd love to. Here's a thing that was written by the great Bobby Troup that we did, vocal arrangement by the great Dick Reynolds, someone we just lost recently. This is called Their Hearts Were Full of Spring.
There's a story told of a very gentle boy and the girl who wore his ring. Through the wintry snow, the world they knew was warm, for their hearts were full of spring. As the days grew old and the nights passed into time, and the weeks and years took wing, gentle boy, tender girl, their love remains still young, for their hearts were full of spring. Then one day they died, and their graves were side by side on a hill where robins sing. And they say violets grow there the whole year round, for their hearts were full of spring.
All right. I'll tell you, not a whole lot of groups today that could come in and sing a cappella like that. And you can say you record on Pazza Records. We have the album fresh. It's great. Love it. Thank you. Now, in return for performing for me, I will be performing for you in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Marvelous.
Have you guys ever had a secret dream to do something outside your profession?
Oh,
I always wanted to be a professional basketball player.
Yeah?
Couldn't make it.
Autie?
Well, I just wanted to be a rancher, which I was, but didn't stay with it. So.
I wanted to be a professional baseball player. Now I want to be a professional golfer.
I want to play golf better than Jack Nicklaus ever thought of playing.
At the beginning of the show, I was telling you about my husband Michael's lifelong musical romance with the Four Freshmen. Well, I want to ask Bob, what did you see in that skinny little 12-year-old?
Well, I saw a lot of talent, and I'll tell you something, Joan. It's been a thrill for me to watch the progress of Michael Krauss.
Up to today, and today is the day it's time to realize Michael's lifelong dream. Come on out, Michael. He wanted to perform with the Four Freshmen. We're going to do it. He's skipping so you don't see his knee shake. This is going to be a first for you, too, though, Bob.
It is.
Why?
It is, Joan. Yes, this is the first time anyone's ever sung lead with the Four Freshmen except for myself.
And you're doing day by day.
Right.
All right, take it away.
And I'm very proud.
Well, I'm very proud, too, but there's one thing that upsets me.
What's that?
If someone sings higher than I do.
I promise you I won't do that.
All right.
Thank you.
Seems to grow. There is a meaning into my devotion. It's deeper, dear, by far than any ocean. I find that day by day you're making all my dreams come true. So come what may, I want you to know I'm yours alone, and I'm in love to stay. Day by day. Day by day, you're making all my dreams come true. I want you to know I'm yours alone, and I'm in love to stay. As we go through the years, we go through the years, we go through the years, day by day.
Is there anything left now that you played with the Four Freshmen?
I've lived my life.
Thank you all, guys.
Thank you.
And you remember to encourage your children to follow their dreams right from the start. For down the road, what they may achieve may startle you and make you a very proud parent. See you next time on Mother's Day.
Because babies don't come with instruction booklets, and TV Guide called it the best instructional home video ever, you should have our newborn baby tape. It also makes the perfect gift. Ask for it at your local book and video store.
Mother's Day fashions provided by Lily Rubin. Hotel accommodations for Mother's Day in New York are provided by the luxurious Omni Park Central Hotel. Transportation for Mother's Day in New York has been provided by Parkway Limousines.